Stuka Joe here. Today we're going to take a look at this game, Saladin, designed by Denis Sauvage and to be published through a Kickstarter by Shakos. The Kickstarter campaign starts on March the 25th. And Shakos is a French company, relatively new, that has produced two well-received games, 1806 and 1807, both operational Napoleonic games that combine certain Eurogame elements into a war game. But this game that is going to be the object of a Kickstarter is the first in a new series, and the series is called In Ordre de Bataille, the Order of Battle. And each volume in this series showcases two battles of a particular commander, in this case, Saladin. And Saladin's full name was Saladin Yusuf ibn Ayyub. And that's why in the game, his followers, which are Muslims from all over the land, are referred to as the Ayyubids. And of course, they're fighting the Crusaders from Western Europe. The two battles that are included are the Battle of the Horns of Hattin, fought on July 4, 1187, where Saladin separated the Crusader infantry from the cavalry and overwhelmed the detachments. And it was a complete victory for Saladin. And later that year, he was able to capture Jerusalem. And the second battle included with the game is one from the Third Crusade, the Battle of Arsuf, on September 7, 1191, where Saladin set an ambush near the coast at Arsuf. However, Richard III, the Lionheart, was able to gather his forces and launch a coordinated charge that astonished and overwhelmed the Turks. So this game includes two battles where Saladin was commander, one where he won and one where he lost. The game has a small footprint. It comes in a small box, and just to give you an idea of its size, I placed a copy of Twilight Struggle beside it so you get an idea. Here we see the game set up for the Arsuf scenario. Let's take a closer look, and we'll start from the Crusaders' perspective. The cards in this game each represent a different formation, and they're called banners. So in this scenario, the Crusaders have 6 banner cards and 1 leader card, which is Richard. The lances represent the troops associated with each of the banners. So for instance, here we see Henry II's banner card, and here we see the lances that compose Henry II's banner. You see that there are columns of 3, a total of 6 columns, 18 lances. To the right of Henry II, you see here Sablé's banner. You have 8 lances, and here we see Sablé's banner card. So each one of the banners has an associated banner card, and each banner card has 2 sides. Here we see Sablé's banner card. It is showing its deployed side, and you see the number of actions that he can take there. Some have a yellow background and some have a white background. If Sablé is in a position with a yellow background, he is uncommitted. And while uncommitted, Sablé can take any of the 3 actions listed with the yellow background. In this case, an uncontrolled charge, a hold action, or a charge. And you see, for example, that the uncontrolled charge has a red circle and a number inside the circle. That's the number of order tokens that are required to execute that action. The uncontrolled charge does not cost any order token. And then you see the number of dice that are rolled in connection with the order. You would see that the Crusaders would roll 1 die, and the Ayyubids would roll 2 dice. And finally, the white box that you see in the right means that after the action is performed, the unit's status changes from uncommitted to committed, which is signified by the white bars in the background. And after Sablé conducts an action, we flip his card to its ordered side. And notice that now, from the committed position, the next time that he is activated, he can take either a push or a regroup action, and each costs 1 order token. Now here we see the setup for the Battle of Arsuf, and we are watching the positions from the Crusaders' perspective. And here we see the setup from the Ayyubid's perspective. Instead of explaining the rules, let's play the game for a while, and I'll explain things as they develop. The first phase in the game is called Chaos, and beginning with turn 2, each side has to remove an order's marker. And also, each side would have to remove an order's marker for each banner that the side has lost. Because this is the first turn, no chaos phase occurs in the first turn. So we proceed now to the next phase. Next phase is initiative, and the side with the initiative decides if it will conduct an action or if it will be the other side. The side with the less amount of orders has the initiative. In this case, the Crusaders have 11 orders tokens. Note that they have 1 token in Arsuf, and that token is liberated or available for the Crusader player if the Crusaders eliminate the 2 Ayyubid lances there. The Ayyubids have 12 order tokens. So the Crusaders have the initiative. However, note that Saladin's leader card has an action called Seize Initiative. So if the Ayyubid player wanted to, he could execute that action there, but that would flip Saladin's leader card to its ordered side. However, in our playthrough, the Ayyubids will not attempt to seize initiative. So the Crusaders decide whether they or the Ayyubids will conduct the first action, and they decide to conduct the first action themselves. And they will conduct an action with Lucinian's banner. We see Lucinian's banner. It occupies a central position behind Henry, and it has a particularity that it is always uncommitted, so it will not assume a committed position, and that means that it won't engage the Ayyubids in hand-to-hand combat. However, Lucinian has a special action unique to his banner that he can attack the Ayyubids' lances in Arsuf. And that's the Arsuf action. And because he will be employing that action, you see that he will roll 1 Crusader die, and the Ayyubids will roll 1 die also. The Crusaders cause 1 loss on the Ayyubids, and the Ayyubids 2 losses on the Crusaders. So one of the lances from Arsuf is removed, and it is placed in the Ayyubids' loss display. And whenever that loss display gets filled to 6, those 6 lances are permanently removed from the game. Lusignan fared worse here, so he loses 2 lances, and you always remove lances from the leftmost column from bottom to top. And after removing these 2 lances, we note that any further action by Lusignan, which cost 1 or more orders, its cost will be increased by an additional 1. And we placed Lusignan's eliminated lances in the Crusaders' lost display. And we finish by flipping Lusignan's banner card to its ordered side. And note that Lusignan still can conduct this turn a loose and Arsuf action, of course, if the Crusader player spends 1 order token. And play passes now to the Ayyubids. It's their turn to activate a banner. They will activate Allah Afdal's banner, and that banner is in an uncommitted status. Afdal can take 1 of 3 actions while uncommitted. Rout, which obviously is not a favorable action because the Crusader would be rolling 3 dice, and that cost no orders. A loose action that costs 1 order, and Afdal would roll 1 Ayyubid die, or with 2 orders, a rain of arrows action, in which case Afdal would roll 2 dice. And here we see who can Allah Afdal attack. If Allah Afdal would be committed, he can attack Richard II's banner, and while uncommitted, he can attack only Henry. So Afdal will attack Henry with the Rain of Arrows action, and we spend 2 Ayyubid orders. And we move them to the spent orders area. Now we roll 2 Ayyubid dice to see the result of this Rain of Arrows action. And the Ayyubid roll 2 blank results, no effect. So the Crusaders were very fortunate, and we end Afdal's activation by flipping his card to his ordered side. And note that he can still conduct, while uncommitted, 2 actions while he is ordered. So it's the Crusaders' turn, and they just experienced a rain of arrows that was mostly ineffective, and Henry knows that that kind of luck doesn't happen frequently. So the Crusaders will activate Henry. Henry is uncommitted, and you see there that Henry's banner is always uncommitted. And obviously we're not going to select a rout result. The shield wall, at a cost of 1 order, allows Henry to reduce the strength of any future attacks by 1 die, and that's the action that the Crusaders will take. And it cost 1 order. So the Crusaders have spent 2 orders and still have 9 left. And to signify that the shield wall has been put in effect, the game brings this square red tile, and we place it in front of Henry's banner. Having conducted his action, we flip Henry's banner card to its ordered side. Now to the Ayyubids, and one thing that is unique to them is this evade action, which you see in green because it's a reaction to a Crusader charge. One of the most potent actions in the game is the charge action by the Crusaders. Here you see Naplus has his action, which allows him to roll 3 dice, and the Ayyubids would roll 1. Bourgogne can roll 2 dice, and then you have Richard that can also roll 3. One way the Ayyubids can counter the Crusader charge action is by play of the evade reaction. Let's say that Bourgogne will charge Ala al-Din. So Ala al-Din is the target of the charge. If Ala al-Din's card is in its deployed side, like you're seeing here, Ala al-Din, by spending 1 order token, can trigger the evade reaction. And instead of Bourgogne rolling 2 dice in a charge, in that case, each side, as shown there in the evade reaction, rolls 1 die. And in any event, the Crusader player still wastes his 2 order tokens on the charge, but the charge doesn't take place. And note that we flipped Ala al-Din's card to its ordered side, and notice that on the ordered side, none of the Ayyubid banners has the evade reaction available. So for the Crusaders, the timing of their charges is essential in this game. Now, let's continue, and now it's the Ayyubids' turn. The Ayyubids do not want to take any action with any of their banners that have the evade reaction still available. So they will take an action with Aslam. Aslam is in the Ayyubid rear, and you see that his banner is uncommitted. Here we see the actions that Aslam can take. With an order token, he can be placed in reserve, which means that nothing happens. Also, with 1 order token, he can reinforce either Ala Afdal, which is the red shield that you see there, or Ala al-Din. But you see that Afdal and al-Din both have their full complement of lances. And the bottom action is spending 2 order tokens to reinforce the garrison of Arsuf. That is, place 1 lance in Arsuf. And if the Ayyubid lances at Arsuf take 1 more hit, the Crusaders will gain 1 order token. So Aslam will take the reinforce Arsuf action. And that costs 2 order tokens, so they still have 8 left. So Aslam takes its bottom lance from its left column, and that lance is placed in the empty space in Arsuf. Now note that all 4 actions of Aslam on his deployed side, none of them have the dot. The dot means that that same action is available on his ordered side. So now we flip Aslam to his ordered side, and there are no actions that can be taken with his banner while the card is on this side. So it's the Crusaders' turn. And the Crusaders will activate Henry. And Henry is on his ordered side, but still he can attack the banners of Ala al-Din and Ala Afdal if they are both uncommitted, and they are uncommitted. So the Crusaders will spend 1 order to conduct a loose action, and they will roll 1 die against Ala Afdal. Start by spending the order token, and the Crusaders still have 8 left, and we roll 1 red die for Henry. And the roll is an order token lost by the Ayyubids. So we remove the bottom lance on the left column, and the lance is placed on the Ayyubid lost display. And notice that Henry was on his ordered side to begin with, and he can continue in future activations to conduct the loose action as long as the Crusader has order tokens to spend and the target banners are uncommitted. The Ayyubids don't like the direction that this exchange of missiles is taking, where the principal banner that fires arrows at them, Henry, has the protection of the shield wall and reduces all Ayyubid attacks by 1 die. So the Ayyubids will try to inflict some real damage, and they will activate Saladin. And note that Saladin starts uncommitted, and he is facing the banner of Sable. And while uncommitted, Saladin can take the harass action, which he will still have available when he is ordered. That costs 2 tokens, but allows Saladin to roll 2 dice while the Crusaders roll only 1. So the Ayyubids will take the harass action with Saladin, and 2 more order tokens are spent. And the Ayyubids roll 2 dice, and the Crusaders 1. The Ayyubids score 1 order token lost by the Crusaders, and the Crusaders eliminate one of Saladin's lances. So we eliminate Saladin's lance at the bottom of the left column. Now the Ayyubids have 3 eliminated lances in their lost display. And the Crusaders have to spend one of their orders, and they still have 7 left. Now we flip Saladin's card to its ordered side. And Saladin, having achieved less than stellar results, now the Crusaders can activate Sablé for a charge. The charge action costs 2 orders, but has potential of inflicting great damage on the Ayyubids. And the Crusaders have 7 orders left, and the Ayyubids have 6. So on with the charge. The Crusaders spend 2 order tokens. Now we roll 3 Crusader dice and 1 Ayyubid die, and irrespective of the result, the Crusader lances will be moved to the committed position. So we roll the dice, and the charge is a complete fiasco. The Crusaders only inflict an order loss, while the Ayyubids eliminate 2 of their lances. Now the 6 remaining lances of Sablé are committed, and the Crusaders now have 4 lances in their lost display. And we flip Sablé's card to its ordered side. So after the charge, the Crusaders still have 5 orders, while the Ayyubids have 6 orders, and now it's the Ayyubids' turn. Wanting to inflict more casualties on Sablé's banner, the Ayyubids activate Saladin, and Saladin will take the harass action, and we start by spending 2 order tokens. With the harass action, the Ayyubids will be rolling 2 dice, and the Crusaders 1. So we roll the battle dice, and the Ayyubids inflict 3 losses on the Crusaders. The Crusaders cause the Ayyubids to lose 1 order. We start by eliminating the 3 lances from Sablé's banner. And now we place the eliminated lances on the losses display. However, there's only 2 available spaces, so we fill the display with 2 of the 3 eliminated lances, and the 6 that are in the display are now permanently eliminated from the game. And now we place the 3rd eliminated lance in the lost display, and because 6 lances were permanently eliminated, now the Crusader player has to permanently eliminate 1 of his order tokens, and we always start with any order tokens that are in the available area. So that means that 1 of these order tokens are permanently eliminated. Now we implement the Crusader die result, and the Ayyubids spend 1 order token, and they have 3 left. Now it's the Crusaders' turn. They have 4 orders left, and they have 3 banners, Naplouse, Bourgogne, and Richard, that if they do not conduct any actions, they will be forced to conduct an uncontrolled charge with not very pleasant prospects, since the Ayyubids would roll 2 dice and the Crusaders only 1. And if the Crusaders do nothing with Sablé, Saladin can continue to harass him, and a loss of those 3 remaining lances will really spell doom for the Crusaders, because they will have to lose 1 order token at the beginning of each turn for each banner that they lose. So the Crusaders will activate Sablé, who is already ordered, and they will spend 1 order token to conduct a regroup action, which will send Sablé back to uncommitted status. So the Crusaders spend 1 order token, they have 3 left, and Sablé's banner returns to uncommitted status, and Sablé's card remains on its ordered side. The Ayyubids have 3 order tokens available. The Crusaders also have 3. So now the Ayyubids will activate Saladin for the recover 1 spent order token action. And now we place one of the spent tokens back into the available area. And now we flip Saladin's card to its ordered side. The Crusaders have 3 orders left, and they have 3 banners that if they run out of orders, they will go on uncontrolled charges. And one of these is Naplus's banner. So the Crusaders will play the hold action on Naplus's banner. That cost 1 order token, and that means that Naplus will stay in position. So the Crusaders spend the order token, and Naplus is flipped to his ordered side. Note that he can still conduct a charge if the Crusaders still have enough order tokens and an eligible target. It's the Ayyubid's turn. The Ayyubids have 4 available order tokens, while the Crusaders only have 2. And the Ayyubids have the banner of Saladin, which will have to take the sacrifice action if they run out of orders. And to avoid that, the Ayyubids now take the reserve action, which has no effect, and flips Saladin's banner card to its ordered side. And here you see Saladin's banner, which is in the rear guard of the Ayyubid line. On to the Crusaders' turn. Crusaders have 2 orders left, and they have their leader Richard still on his deployed side. And that means that Richard could add 1 more order, or he could add 1 more die in a charge conducted by the banner that has his name. Or he can replace 1 lost lance. And Richard's banner could charge Allah Afdal's banner, and Allah Afdal would not have the evade action available. So that means that in the case of a charge, Richard would roll 3 dice. So the Crusaders will activate Richard to add an additional die by a charge conducted by his banner. And we make a mental note of that because you can only activate a leader or a banner in each turn. So it's the Ayyubid's turn, and they know that the Crusaders will conduct a charge with Richard's banner. So Allah Afdal will be charged in the next Crusader activation. Allah Afdal can only conduct the loose and rain of arrows actions against Henry, and Henry has the shield wall, which reduces the amount of dice by 1. So there goes the loose action. And notice also that Allah Afdal cannot conduct any action that will commit him to Richard. He has to wait until Richard charges him to be committed, and then Allah Afdal will have the push or withdraw actions available. So the Ayyubids know that a charge is coming, and they'll try to create a distraction elsewhere for the Crusaders. Sulaiman is on the right flank facing Naplus. And Sulaiman will conduct a harass action against Naplus in the hopes of one of those 2 dice being a lost order token result, in which case the Crusaders would not have enough tokens to launch the charge with Richard. So the Ayyubids start by spending 2 order tokens. They have 2 left. And note that the harass action will have the Crusaders also rolling 1 die against the Ayyubids. So now we roll 2 dice for the Ayyubids and 1 for the Crusaders. And this is a bloodbath. The Ayyubids inflict 4 losses on the Crusaders, and the Crusaders inflict 2 on the Ayyubids. So we remove the 2 Ayyubid lances, and now we remove the 4 Crusader lances from Naplouse. Note that Naplouse now will have a +1 penalty when activated in the future. The 2 lost lances by the Ayyubids are placed in their lost display, and they have 5 there. And the Crusaders' losses are also placed on the display, and they have 5. 1 more loss, and the Crusaders will lose another order token permanently from the game. And we flip Suleiman's card to its ordered side. Now it's the Crusaders' turn. They have 2 orders left, and the Ayyubids also have 2 orders left. And the Crusaders have a big decision to make. They can spend the 2 orders to have Richard charge Ala Afdal with a bonus of an additional die because the leader, Richard, conducted an action to add an additional die. It would be 4 Crusader dice versus 1 Ayyubid die. And of course, such an attack carries the potential of lots of losses on the Ayyubid side. So if the Crusader takes this option, he will be left with no order tokens, and in the next Crusader activation, the Crusader will have to activate Bourgogne for an uncontrolled charge against Ala al-Din. And another consideration is, even if Richard succeeds in inflicting lots of casualties on the Ayyubids, if he loses 1 lance, he will reach 6 lost lances in the lost display, which will cause the permanent loss of another order's marker for the Crusader. So what will it be? If the Crusaders conduct instead a hold action by Richard, spending 1 token, Richard will be flipped to his ordered side, and there will be no uncontrolled charge. And in the next activation, the Crusaders can do the same for Bourgogne. However, the Ayyubids still have 2 tokens. They could launch another harass action. And if they inflict only 1 loss on the Crusaders, then the Crusaders will lose permanently these 6 lances and 1 token. So it seems that the Crusaders will reach that 6th lost lance no matter what. So Richard launches his charge against Ala Afdal. The charge costs the Crusaders its 2 remaining orders tokens. And Richard will be rolling 3 dice plus the additional die on account of Richard the leader's action. And Richard will be committed, and since he will be committed no matter what, we place his lances in the committed area. And now we roll the dice. The 3 Crusader dice produce 2 lances lost and an order lost by the Ayyubids, and the Ayyubids only roll a blank result. We still have to roll 1 more die for the Crusaders. And the die roll is 2 additional lances lost. So the Ayyubids lose 4 lances and 1 order. And we take out the 4 lances from Ala Afdal's display and place the losses in the lost display. With 1 loss, all 6 spaces have been filled, so the Ayyubids lose all 6 lances permanently. And we place the remaining 3 in the lost display. As a result of the loss of the 6 lances, the Ayyubids lose permanently 1 order, which is removed from the game. And now, because of the result of one order spent, the Ayyubid's remaining order is placed in the spent area, and the Ayyubids have no available orders. The charge by Richard's banner is a complete success. Now we flip Richard's banner's card to its ordered side. Now it's the Ayyubid's turn, and they have no order tokens left, and they still have one banner that has its card on its deployed side. So now they have to select an order for the banner. And the only order they can select is the route order, which means that 3 Crusader dice are rolled, and we will apply the effects on Ala al-Din's banner. The roll results in 1 no effect and 2 orders spent. And because the Ayyubids have no available orders, the 2 orders spent result is ignored. And we flip Ala al-Din's card to its ordered side. Now it's the Crusaders' turn to activate a unit, and they also have no available orders. And they have 1 banner that is on its deployed side, so they have to conduct an action with that banner. And the only action that they can conduct is the infamous uncontrolled charge action, where the Crusader will roll 1 die, and the Ayyubids 2, and the Crusaders will be committed. And they will be charging Ala al-Din's banner. So we place Bourgogne's lances in the committed position that bears Bourgogne's coat of arms. And now we roll the dice. Each side loses 1 lance. So we remove the lances for each side. And now the Crusaders have 6 lancers in their lost display. So those 6 lances are permanently eliminated from the game, and as a penalty also, Crusaders have to eliminate 1 of their order tokens, also permanently from the game. So 1 is removed. The Ayyubids lost 1 lance, which is placed on their lost display, and they have 4 lost lances there. And we end Bourgogne's activation by flipping his card to the ordered side. Now we would go to the Ayyubids, but all of their banners and the leader card are ordered. So play reverts back to the Crusaders, and they have the same situation. All banners and the leader are ordered. So that's the end of the activations phase. Now we go to the last phase of the turn, redeployment. In this phase, all banner and leader cards are flipped to their deployed sides. And during the redeployment phase, the shield wall marker is removed. So if the Crusaders want to have its benefit for the second turn, they have to conduct the appropriate action with Henry once again. And all order tokens are now moved to their available space. And that's the end of 1 turn. And if we were to start a second turn, remember that the first phase is called the chaos phase, which doesn't happen in turn 1. But during the chaos phase, you remove 1 orders token from each side. So from the Ayyubid side, 1 token would be removed, and they would have 10 left. And on the Crusader side, 1 token would be removed, and they would have 8 left. And in this chaos phase, if a side has lost 1 or more banners, you would remove the number of tokens equal to the number of banners that your side has lost. So if the Crusaders had lost 2 banners in addition to the orders token that is removed at the beginning of the turn, 2 more order tokens are removed. So it is important to maintain your banners in the game for as long as possible. So you've seen all the things that can happen in one turn of Saladin. And how do you win? By eliminating permanently your opponent's ordered tokens. The instant that that happens, the other player wins. So you just watched one full turn of the Arsuf scenario, and the game includes another scenario. And here is the game set up for the Hattin scenario, where you see the Crusader forces begin the game practically surrounded by the Ayyubids. We see the Crusader leader, Guy de Lusignan. And here we see the Crusader banners. Here we see the map, and we take a closer view at the center of the map where we have Ridefort's banner in a central position protecting the cross of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And the game has special rules that when things get pretty ugly for the Crusaders, Guy de Lusignan can make a last stand here at the Horns of Hattin. And you see the positions where he will place his lances. And of course, here you see the positions that will be occupied by the Ayyubids. And here we have a view of the map and the setup for the Horns of Hattin from the Ayyubids' perspective. So this is Saladin, designed by Denis Sauvage and to be published by Shakos. The Kickstarter campaign starts on March the 25th. And this is Stuka Joe signing off for now. Thanks for watching.